God! 아, 진짜 미쳤다. Bob didn't turn out to be that kind of superhero dad.
Thank God.
저한테 역으로 음악이 어땠냐고 먼저 물어보시는 거예요.
How'd you like the music?
The music, I love. 안녕하세요, GQ 코리아 구독자 여러분. 저는 세븐틴의 버너입니다. 원 배틀 애프터 어나더의 레오나르도 디카프리오와 베니시오 델 토로와 나이스 투 미큐를 찍으러 왔습니다. 잠을 거의 못 자고 왔어요. 2시간 좀 안 되게 자고 온 것 같아요. 침대에 누워서도 그냥 계속 머릿속으로 시뮬레이션을 돌리고 긴장되고 떨리고 설레는 마음에 계속 좀 잠을 설치다 왔습니다. 인터뷰가 시작되는데 하고 있습니다. Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Hello, my name is Vernon. I am a member of a K-pop boy band named Seventeen, and as a movie fan, I can't express enough how excited I am to talk with you about One Battle After Another.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
I heard that Steven Spielberg was saying what an insane movie this is. What was your response when you first heard the news?
I mean, that's an amazing stamp of approval. He's, one of the great filmmakers of all time, and I think he said he saw the movie 3 times now. In a lot of ways, this is Paul Thomas Anderson Spielberg movie. It's huge in scope. There's
Right.
tremendous action. There's twists. There's turns. But at the heart of it is this story of family and me trying to get back to my daughter. But
Right.
there's so much deception, so many lies, so many, extremes and satire and comedy. It's Paul Thomas Anderson's sort of magnus opus in a lot of ways. And to have Steven say that about our film it's an incredible honor.
I saw the film and was absolutely blown away by it. It was such a fun and amazing film. Leo, you've mentioned that one of your biggest career regrets was not being a part of Boogie Nights. And Benicio, I'm told that this is your second film with Paul Thomas Anderson. What made you want to be a part of this particular film?
If Paul Thomas Anderson calls any actor on the planet, I don't care where you're from, and says, I want you to participate in my movie, that actor or actress will drop everything and say yes. Before reading the story, before knowing who the other people are involved in the film, before knowing how much they're gonna pay you. We wanna work with the best people around. I consider Paul to be one of the best filmmakers around right now.
For those who haven't seen the film yet, just hearing the storyline of a father searching for his kidnapped daughter might make them imagine something like Taken, but Bob didn't turn out to be that kind of superhero dad. Throughout his journey, to find Willow.
Thank God.
I mean, but Bob is supported by many unnamed heroes carrying their shared hopes. So, what do you think Bob represents in our lives?
He represents a flawed human, a real person. Own trials and tribulations that's put into a situation of great intensity where everything is at stake for him, the only thing that he has left, which is his daughter, yet he's incapable of taking on massive, powerful forces. It's very representative of a lot of stuff that's going in our world today. There's miscommunication, extreme viewpoints. And then there are people out there that, don't have a fighting chance. But Paul said, look, this guy's an ex-revolutionary. He's a stoner. He doesn't remember the passcode to how to get back to find his daughter. He doesn't remember his revolutionary past. He's lost all of it. What is his superpower,
Right.
It's a real world superhero. His superpower is that he's just a relentless dog that will not give up. He will do everything to the and it's in the pursuit of finding his daughter and the one that he loves that is his heroism. So it's a different kind of hero. It's a flawed, protagonist, which are things that I love to play, and Paul writes so masterfully well. It's incredible what he's able to do.
I think the ending just proves how strong Bob was. In conclusion, Benicio, you described this film as Paul Thomas Anderson at his best. What parts of the film were the most like him, and what parts were new or maybe even different to you?
I think that one thing he does in this film that might be a little bit is the action. In this one, he does car chases that are like William Friedkin, like
was
the French.
insane.
It's got these car chases, but they're very original and very very different, very unique.
They're grounded.
That it's kind of like a new side to Paul. Also, I feel this movie's a Western. He's truly like, he surprises you, he surprises the viewer every 2 minutes in this movie.
You know, traditional sort of action movies that like an intricate plot with a multitude of different characters that you don't know how to trust. If they could just sort of give faith to trying to see something that's maybe a little bit different than what we've been saturated with out there in the movie industry. This is like a real world, complex odyssey with like extremism, and it's relentless. We really want people to see this movie in the theaters because it's original filmmaking and an original concept at its best, and we just hope it really does well, man, because we're so proud of it.
It's completely like Paul's movies, that everything that's happening is unpredictable, including like what, you know, Leo's character, that is he a failure really? We see his effort, and maybe that's what is beautiful about him. It's like he never gives up.
And that is definitely one of the most admirable parts of Bob. I absolutely agree with remarks on the car chase scene. It was an incredible experience watching that, and I have no doubt that many people would enjoy the scene as well.
How'd you like the music?
The music, I loved it. I mean, like, it's just so different and unique, but it just makes me focus so much on what's happening in the movie. And yeah, the music was incredible as well. What was your favorite scene during shooting? After shooting was all done, what was your favorite scene during watching the movie?
I got to go, my scenes with this guy. These heroes that are ill-equipped to deal with the forces at bay, and they're up against all odds. Once we got a handle of who these guys were, we just kind of hopped in the car and we were those guys. It was great to have that camaraderie and that ability to improvise, that ability to create our own characters on the spot. And Paul created that microcosm for us. He created a...
Nice.
Yeah, he's saying that because I'm here right now, but if no,
Otherwise,
but
I'm alone, man.
No, that's right. Yeah, but I agree with you know, that whole scene. For me, the one that was really fun to shoot was that scene when we come into the store where my family works, because we were working with a lot of non-actors. I mean, that store was for real. That wasn't a set. So we just went in there and we just took over, and the actors, the non-actors who owned the store, very encouraging to allow us to you know, go through the merchandise, grab whatever you need, you know, scream at the son of the owner of the store. That was a moment, I think, that for me, that I think Leo and myself, we just kind of like came together in that moment, because we were the only two actors there and everyone else was a non-actor.
Real people, you know, that came from the military in this movie, all those guys, all the other characters that you see, people in the medical world, people in the corrections facilities, store owners, you know, everyone in this movie besides the actors that you know. Paul wanted to bring a reality to it. And that's what I think people are gonna love about this movie, is that at a day and age where we're so used to special effects and CGI, this is a big, robust odyssey with like a reality and a grittiness to it. Even the way it was shot. Paul really is trying to do a throwback to that old school style of filmmaking that we don't get to see so often anymore.
I couldn't agree more. I just loved how real the whole movie felt. And also the movie, one of the biggest subject matters of the movie is resistance. Resistance isn't just about fighting against massive injustice. Do you have any moments in your daily lives that you may call small but personal resistance?
You want to go first?
You do it.
It's having the courage to, you know, say what you believe and speak your truth. In our world getting harder and harder, everyone wants to be more and more quiet and not speak out. I mean, our world is so confusing right now, and with the onset of all this social media, trying to decipher what's truth, what are lies, all this stuff is themes in the movie too. Intergenerational miscommunication. I mean, I think that was represented in this movie a lot too with my daughter. I don't know how to speak to my daughter anymore. She's of a different generation.
Right.
We don't know who's what, but we still love each other. And at the end of the day, and I guess if you're asking that, it's just about having the courage. I mean, his line says it best, right? What is freedom? It means having no fear.
I'd actually love to ask about that line as well. Freedom is no fear like Tom Cruise. If it were up to you, would you express it any other way, or do you think that's just like the spot on line?
Well, I think that line is, it's kind of like a combination of two things. As I'm saying, freedom is no fear, right?
Yes.
Which means I'm talking about him getting out of the car, just having the courage
To jump out.
to jump from a moving car, and that's why the connection with Tom Cruise is. And here's a guy who has on the phone ring the song of the Eye of the Tiger from Rocky, so you know he watches movies. So he's probably and he does have a Superman poster in his dojo
Right,
in the
right.
back there. So when I do that, that's a Nina Simone line, I believe. I think it's Nina Simone who said that line. But like Tom Cruise is like, I'm trying to motivate him to jump. This is the meat and potatoes definition of that line, the way I thought about it when I said it. So don't be afraid, do it like Tom Cruise.
That was one of my favorite lines of the movie. And thank you so much for your time. I think our time is up. As a huge fan, it was an honor to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes. All right.
you.
Take care. All right.
Thank you. God! 아, 진짜 미쳤다. 말 실수를 할까봐 조금 걱정이 많이 됐었는데 제 시야에서는 이제 화면에 두 분이 보이니까 각성되는 듯한 기분이 들어서 집중을 빡 하면서 임했던 것 같습니다. 지금 또 하나 떠오르는 건 바로 이 장면인데요. 밥이 자기가 전에 속해 있었던 집단에 전화를 걸었는데 어떤 대화가 더 이어지려면 암호부터 먼저 대화하는 상황인 건데 활동을 안 한 지가 한 16년이 된 상황이라 그런 암호 같은 거는 이렇게 모조리 기억이 안 나는 상황인 거예요. 아무것도 못하고 혼자서 그냥 뭐 속 답답해하고 부글거리는 그런 상황인데 밥한테는 되게 심각한 상황이란 말이에요. 왜냐하면 자기의 딸의 안전이 걸려있는 상황이라 계속 답답해하는 게 이게 너무 웃긴 거예요. 진짜 극장 안에서 뭐 웃음을 못 참을 정도로 웃었던 기억이 나는데 이거에 대해 묻고 싶었던 거는 심각하고 뭐 괴롭기까지 한 그런 상태이고 연기를 하고 있는 건데 장면 자체가 너무 웃기고 사실 그 웃기려고 의도가 된 거기도 하잖아요. 감정 연기와 그 의도 사이의 그런 밸런싱을 어떻게 했는지 그런 거에 대해서 여쭤보고 싶었는데 그래도 질문 많이 해서 좋았어요. 네. 답변은 아니지만 디카프리오님이 저한테 역으로 음악이 어땠냐고 먼저 물어보시는 거예요. 놀라웠고 좋았습니다. 음악 감독은 그 라디오헤드 멤버인 조니 그린우드 님이었다 들었는데 독특한데 오히려 이게 너무 몰입도를 올리는 느낌이 들어서 특유의 그 긴장감을 주는 것도 너무 좋았고 음악 없이 봤으면 되게 심각하기만 했을 수 있는 상황도 약간 좀 블랙 코미디스럽게 풀어내는 부분도 되게 좀 좋았고 예, 재밌었습니다. 솔직히 저였어도 어떻게 대답을 했을지 모르겠어요. 답변을 듣고 너무 공감이 됐어요. 특히나 요즘은 서로를 배려하고자 아니면 서로가 서로를 의식하기 때문에 표현의 자유가 점점 약간 이렇게 억압되는 느낌이 있는 것 같은데 그거에 대해서 그런 답변을 주셔서 되게 좀 인상 깊고 좋았습니다. 폴 토마스 앤더슨 감독님의 첫 블록버스터 액션 작품이라 들었어요. 그분 작품들 중에서도 스케일이 굉장히 큰 편인데 처음이라는 게 무색할 정도로 너무나 좀 능숙하고 유기적이고 재밌게 영화를 잘 만들어냈다고 생각합니다. 여러분도 꼭 극장 가서 좀 큰 화면으로 영화를 경험하시면 좋을 것 같아요. 제가 원래 이걸 끼고 지금 한 줄 평을 말해야 되는데 사실 준비를 못 해왔어요. 그렇지만 뭐 하고 싶은 얘기는 있기 때문에 일단은 안경을 좀 벗고 얘기하겠습니다. 예. 재미와 쾌감과 스릴과 감동이 조화롭게 엮여진 그런 영화라고 느꼈고 누구에게나 소개하고 추천해주고 싶을 정도로 좀 재미있었던 영화여서 여러분도 꼭 보시는 걸 추천드립니다. 개인적으로 이 자리가 너무나 좀 약간 영광스러웠던 만큼 나름 좀 부담감을 가지고 임했는데 부족함이 있었다 하더라도 시청자분들께 좀 유익했기를 바라고 원 배틀 애프터 아나더도 많이 봐주세요. 감사합니다.